A shameful epidemic is sweeping our universities. Female students are being sexually assaulted in frightening numbers. And more often than not, the accused get off scot-free while their victims are left broken and afraid, often having to drop out of uni. Tonight, several brave young women speak out for the first time, revealing how some of our most respected universities have become hunting grounds for predators. PJ Madam has this special investigation.
I was petrified. I was so scared. I just didn't know what to do. Didn't know what to do with myself, so yeah.
How far did he go?
Pretty much all the way.
He raped you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tonight, the shocking truth about sexual assaults at universities across the country. You wake up fearing running into him every day.
Every day I go to uni, yeah.
Brave, young women break their silence about an epidemic of rape and harassment on campus. Did you say anything to him?
I remember saying stop. I remember saying get off. I remember saying you have a girlfriend. I remember saying that I didn't want this.
Thousands of kilometres apart, but all share the same traumatic story. How do you think it's affected his life?
I don't think it's affected his life at all.
And as we'll discover, their alleged attackers got off virtually scot-free. How many other girls do you know that this has happened to?
How many girls?
It's not good that you're counting.
I know. How awful is that? Oh my gosh.
The numbers really are staggering. Through Freedom of Information searches, we've uncovered 575 cases of sexual assault, harassment and indecent behaviour in the past 5 years. And the problem is only getting worse, thriving in a predatory and sexist campus culture where very few perpetrators are punished.
Universities may be becoming breeding grounds where young men can hunt women to their own satisfaction and without any recourse or without any criminal ramifications.
Why aren't we seeing all the expulsions, all the suspensions? Students, perpetrators being made examples of. Why aren't we seeing that? Why are we hearing time and again so many feeling let down by the system? Can you admit that there has been decades of inaction? Janica Jackie remembers the day 3 years ago she was accepted into environmental science and chemistry at the University of Western Australia.
It's pretty cool, pretty stoked, happy. Family is pretty happy as well, so yeah, it's good.
Janica chose to live on campus. She thought it would be a safe, friendly environment for her first experience living out of home.
Just love the idea of having that community with you while you're studying. Yeah.
So there was plenty of alcohol around?
Drinking culture was pretty big at college for sure.
On a night out to celebrate her 18th birthday, she was surrounded by her new university friends.
First part of the night was great. Taking shots, just playing drinking games, just talking, chatting. Everyone was really happy.
In the group, an older male student who was also celebrating a birthday.
We met at college and we became friends quite quickly. He seemed like a perfectly good, charming, funny sort of person.
As the night progressed, the alcohol took its toll and she began to feel unwell.
I was pretty drunk, very drunk actually.
She was desperate to go back to college to sleep it off, but couldn't find her mates who had her room key. She asked her male friend to help her get home.
You all right? You come with me?
And it was cold as well, it was August, so it was freezing outside. And I was just like, look, it's really cold. Can I just chill in your room for a little bit? And I was like, yeah, sure, no worries. What are friends for?
Did he actually say that to you? That's what friends are for?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm so drunk. Sorry if I ruined your night.
And then I remember him walking up behind me, turning the light switch off, and then kissing me. I remember quite clearly saying, no, I don't want to do this. I don't think this is a good idea because we're just friends. And yeah, pretty much, he just didn't stop.
He raped you?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
And you got back to your room. Do you remember what you did?
I just remember taking the longest shower I have probably ever taken. That's all I really remember.
10, 11, 12.
For many first-year students, excessive drinking and partying is a rite of passage, especially during orientation week. I wish that all the ladies were holes in the road, and if I was a dump truck, I'd fill them with my load.
It's deeply offensive. It's so violent. It's so disgusting. And I suppose for the men singing that, it's very empowering. That's terrifying.
Consultant Dr. Rosalind Arnold is a former council member of Sydney University's prestigious St John's Residential College. From the outside, they're such beautiful but imposing buildings.
Well, they're designed to inspire the very best in human thought and behaviour. But unfortunately for some other students, the experience is anything but that, and they feel very let down.
In 2012, Dr. Arnold quit her position in disgust after a female student was forced to drink a potentially deadly cocktail of shampoo, dog food and alcohol.
I was appalled that there seemed to be very few people on the council who were equally concerned. And when I stood down, somebody looked at me and said, "You do know you're overreacting, don't you?" But I said, one day I will speak out.
Do you believe there's a rape culture in Australian universities?
I don't want to believe it any more than anyone else does, but yes, it does exist. And it's terrifying.
Emma, how does it feel when you're walking around campus?
To be honest, quite scary. I find that I have to be really hyper-vigilant, and I look around everywhere to see if I can recognise him, and I never really know when the next day is that I'm going to run into him.
Emma Hunt is in her final year of music composition at Melbourne's Monash University. The last time you saw him, how did that make you feel?
Absolutely terrified. I only saw him for a split second, but it was enough to make me feel the most unsafe I've ever felt.
Emma Hunt was 18 years old when she began her degree. Her first big social event was an orientation camp run by the student union.
So excited to meet new people. We had a themed party. We all got to dress up in costumes. We were pretty much allowed to drink as much as we wanted, and that night I wouldn't be able to say how much I had drank. Just that we were encouraged to have more and have more.
Emma got very drunk, so drunk that she blacked out.
And then I remember waking up in a cabin with a stranger. And I don't know how I got there, didn't know who he was.
Have you seen Emma? Emma, over there, did you see her?
My very first memory was people storming in, making a lot of noise and removing me from the room.
Hey, get off her, hey!
Emma, what did he do to you?
He raped me. That's all I remember. I don't know what he did, how long it went for, all the different things. I'm not sure. All I know is that when I woke up, in that split second before I was taken out of there, I knew that he was inside me. Yeah.
Months later, she told a friend who convinced her to report it to the university. Police are now investigating. Why didn't you report it yourself? Why did it have to come to a friend to do that?
Because I didn't know there was any way to do it. The services didn't seem to be obvious and available to me. I figured there must be something the university could do, but it was hard work to try and find these avenues myself, so she helped a lot in finding them.
Emma, tell me about some of the comments that you've heard.
Well, I've been asked, what was I wearing? I've been asked, why did you drink that much? I've been told that I wanted the attention and I had put myself out there, and no wonder I was the one that was targeted.
The frightening fact is that any female student can become a target, especially online. It's a symptom of a university culture that objectifies and crudely ranks women on social media.
It's endorsing a pattern that women deserve to be victims, that it is acceptable to denigrate them, to humiliate them, to act violently towards them.
Incredibly, some women, including University of Melbourne student Sydney Watson, don't have a problem being portrayed this way.
For me, that was really flattering and actually quite funny too. My friends also found it very funny, so we just had a bit of a laugh.
So you enjoyed the attention?
Oh, I think any young woman would.
Can I read you some of the comments I read? Geez, she'd get it. She's a bitch and has bad breath. This girl is a 0 out of 10. I would not bang her even if they paid me. Shoot me with a tranquilizer right now before I go out to hunt. How do you feel about those?
Well, obviously, I feel like, I won't lie that some of those things are really inappropriate, but to me, that's sort of the nature of the online world. I just think that it's all in the sort of name of fun, whilst they might not be completely right. I don't think that it's in a serious fashion by any stretch of the imagination.
You're letting down the side by saying that it's okay. We don't think it's okay.
Alarmingly, these attitudes to females are forming long before boys start university, even high school, fueled by the immediacy and intimacy of social media. I mean, we've recently seen those websites targeting the primary schools online. I mean, that is scary.
And as parents have to be very scared about that, and they are scared. but they also have to stand up and say, this is not right.
My daughter had been entered into a slut draft, and the people who had written the text were asking and encouraging other people to vote on whether she should be nominated for the slut of 2016.
In August, 2 teenage boys from the prestigious Brighton Grammar School in Melbourne posted these seemingly innocent photos of primary school girls online. And how did she react?
She was embarrassed. It's my daughter. This is a little girl whose security I have spent my life protecting, and somebody had made her vulnerable. It's my job as a mother to protect my daughter. Sorry.
The map we have behind us, each dot represents an incident that we know of a student who's been assaulted at an Australian university.
Back on campus, it's Shana Bremner's job to track the number of university students who've been assaulted. She runs EROC and Rape on Campus, and it's an uphill battle.
We do have 2 more dots to add today to the map.
While many students are reluctant to report their assault, Shana is contacted by as many as 8 victims every week.
Much bigger than I expected, to be honest. I think much bigger than anyone really realises.
Why are universities so reluctant to even acknowledge it?
PR. Nobody wants to be known as the rape campus. Nobody wants to be known as the university where it happens because it doesn't look good. It's not a good image.
University silence perpetuates violence. University silence perpetuates violence.
Despite overwhelming evidence that sexual assault is rife, students are desperate to be heard by their universities.
Society asks questions like, what were we wearing? How drunk were we? Why did we go home alone with them at night? What were we expecting? I went through
Olivia Todd-Hunter used this protest rally to tell her story for the first time.
When I went to uni counselling services, I was turned away. They said that my issue wasn't urgent enough to be available for emergency counselling.
She was on exchange overseas with the University of Wollongong when she was sexually assaulted by a fellow Australian student. So you did seek help, but you got knocked back. Can you assure all parents that their children are safe while studying at Australian universities?
Australian university campuses are very safe.
University management knows there is a problem.
Professor Barney Glover has the tough job of defending Australia's universities.
They know what to do about the problem, and yet year after year, university management doesn't do it.
And what about to the perpetrators? What's your message to them?
There's no place for perpetrators of sexual violence in Australian society. There's certainly no place for them on Australian university campuses. They should get out.
But our freedom of information searches show that perpetrators are rarely disciplined by universities. We can reveal that of the 575 reported cases of sexual assault, harassment and indecent behaviour, only 6 were expelled. What does zero tolerance look like? I mean, it should look like expulsions, suspensions, being told to leave completely. I mean, why aren't we seeing
One
those
of the
numbers?
challenges I think we experience on campuses right around Australia is that very difficult circumstance where a student has experienced the devastating effects of sexual assault or sexual violence, and for whatever reason, they aren't prepared to go to the police.
It's a no-win situation. You report to the police or the university can't help you, but once you've reported to the police, the university can't help you.
So there's a double betrayal going on here, first by the perpetrator, the second by the university.
Absolutely.
I didn't go to the police because I'd heard a little bit about the process that is involved. I was also just genuinely worried that no one was going to believe me.
Can you admit that there has been decades of inaction by universities?
It is true to say that the responses of universities in Australia over the last decade and beyond have been inadequate, and I think that's very clear.
Janica eventually reported the rape to her residential college, and her alleged attacker did not return to student accommodation, but no further action was taken. He graduated this month. Janica eventually dropped out of uni and gave up her dream of being a scientist. She hopes to return one day.
The stress was unbearable. Depression just went through the roof, and so did my anxiety as well. I also have a lot of trouble with having relationships and the like.
Emma and Olivia persevered, and although their studies suffered, both expect to graduate at the end of this year.
I want to know that I can move forward from this and show other people that they can too. They shouldn't have to live in fear, neither should I. And that's what I want from all of us.
I finally reached that point where I think, this is bigger than me. This needs to stop.
They have found within themselves the courage and resolve and the voice to speak out. They are the heroes in this story.
Universities Australia has launched a nationwide survey and wants to hear from students who've been assaulted or harassed.